Hey, we're weekly. Wasn't lying to you. Here it comes. So this week I had my buddy Luke. Call him Chef Luke because he is a professional chef, believe it or not. I also host another podcast with him called the Camo and Hooks podcast. But Luke and I have been friends for a long time. And we go into that, actually. We actually run through the trials and tribulations of being friends with each other for however long it's been. So, Luke has joined me. He's going to be a regular, so get used to that voice. And as soon as video comes, get used to that face. But yeah, it was a fun one. Really enjoy just having friends and people that we can talk about literally anything and have pretty mostly similar views, some slight disagreements here and there, but I don't know, just a good time. It's something, if I were hanging out with him, I would just sit down and talk anyway, so it's fun to have the microphone on and just kind of go down all the whatevers, because that's what we do around here. So this episode is brought to you by Throw Bros. Throw Bros is the only place online to buy gear and supplies for Highland Games athletes. It's for throwing athletes, man. It's for throwers. This is the stuff you're going to need, especially if you're going to compete in the Highland Games. We got what you need. Throw Bros They have boot blades, which is a hard thing to find. If you're not in the know and you're not a Highland Games athlete listening to this, you can probably just ignore the part about boot blades. But if you haven't thrown in boot blades, you're throwing hammers without those, you should really get on it. We got the HK hammer blades at Throw Bros. Throwbros.com. You can use code DOWHATEVER to save 10% on your order at Throw Bros. Throw Bros has the most important thing, I think, for a lot of athletes is trying to find things like tacky. It's hard to find people that are producing stuff like that. We make our own. We have a special blend. It's made just for Scottish hammer throwers. It's made just for y'all. And we got more stuff coming down the pipe. We got more apparel. We got more gear. Working on wrist wraps. Working on. We just launched pitchforks. I'm telling you, if you're not a Highland Games athlete, this company and the promo for it is going to sound absolutely insane. Now we got blades and pitchforks. Cool. But yeah, we have pitchforks and they're in production. They're the first batch from when we launched them are out. They're hitting, like people are getting them. They're loving them. So it's definitely a very, very cool thing. And hey, it's my company. So I get to promote it all I want to before the episode starts. But let's not keep you delayed too much longer. Hey, go to throwbros.com, gear up, get throwing, use code DOWHATEVER to get 10% off. So without further ado, here's me and Chef Luke.
Oh man, like I'm gonna get this skinny one.
And what kind of horrible psychological torture?
I'll show them. I'm gonna get a skinny one. Oh wait, those are the worst ones.
Yeah, that's gonna decrease the area of the impact, and the welt's gonna be 5 times as big.
That stings extra.
So that's one of those things like your parents, Ashley's parents didn't use any corporal punishment at all, and mine did. And like that was one of those things when you tell that story to somebody that wasn't hit as a kid,
the horror in their eyes.
They made you go pick out the thing they were going to beat you with. It's like, yeah, so
yeah, what, you didn't do that?
Like, I mean, I was probably being a jerk. That's probably why. But no, now I look back on it, it's like, good God, you couldn't make me do that to my kid. You couldn't. Like, there's not a point where I've gotten angry enough with them. It's like, go pick out the thing I'm going to beat you with.
You know what?
And then I'm going to beat you.
I think the better move is to make them do it, but then not use it.
See,
to get in their head.
I would think maybe go the opposite way. And then you go and pick out the thing you're going to beat them with and then make them beat themselves with it.
They can't reach with their little arms, though.
Right. Well, that's why you pick. So you got to pick a longer switch. You got to pick
with a little bit of a bend at the end.
See, it's like, yeah. If you this has got like a little flailing part at the end of it too. That's extra nasty. Why is this in my office?
Because you have kids and they bring everything from outside inside.
My God. No, incorrect. Hannah brings everything from the inside outside. Our entire house gets brought out to the field across the street. Apparently, I think they're making a hobo village, I think is the point of what they're doing. Well, welcome back once again to the Do Whatever podcast. I got with me Chef Luke. Yeah, Luke is, man, we've been friends for way too long?
I think like 18 years.
God, no way.
17, 18 years.
17, 18, that is ridiculous.
When did you start waiting tables at Papado?
Oh, God, 2002 or 3, I think.
Okay, I was there in 2001, so maybe it's only been 16 years.
That was Frost... Well, then prove myself right. That was Frosted Tips, Luke, wasn't it back then?
Oh no, I had full on bleached hair.
Oh yeah, you just and I think it's just because the roots started growing in, and you're a dude and didn't get a root bump or anything like that. How do I know what a root bump is at this point in my life? By the way, because I live with a woman.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was bleach blonde Luke. Mm-hmm. You won't brag on yourself, I'm sure, but you were kind of a superstar at that Cajun dining restaurant. You were, man. You were
indeed.
You worked at you were a server first, just like me, just a lowly server.
Yeah.
Then head wait.
Yeah. Well, trainer.
Then
head waiter.
That's right.
Then I started working in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. Then I worked some expo shifts. Eventually, I made my way to bartender as well, which was kind of
And you never bartended again after that, did you?
No.
Like at any other place or anything? Mm-mm. You never went for the 6th Street bar. You got the right shirt on right now. You got a V-neck black T-shirt on right now. Yeah. That is 100%
What's that? The cranberry vodka? Yeah.
That's for you, man.
Yeah.
So you were kind of a superstar there.
I was, in fact, voted Mr. Papado at one of our all-staff meetings. So.
Wow, that's weird that I've never seen that on a resume of yours or anything, that you put Mr. Papado on there.
Yeah, well, there's a whole second page of awards.
Oh, I see. That's what I saved the nice paper for that page.
That just says Mr. Papado on it.
48-point font. And of course, Papado has to be hyphenated 3 times to get across there. Now, Papado's Seafood Kitchen. That was us waiting tables as a real job. It was full-time employment.
We made so much money.
Okay, you did.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you remember, I worked mostly lunches.
Oh yeah.
I'd work one night, 1 or 2 nights a week. Sometimes I'd pull a double. But I'd work lunches, and you just have to think about the kind of person that comes into a seafood kitchen for lunch.
Sure.
And that's who my tipping clientele were.
Well, it was all about volume.
It was.
There. Now, their prices are so much higher.
Did they crank it up to make it even fancier?
Okay.
Or try to make it fancier?
A Lango is $26.95 now. Used to be $17.95. It's crazy.
It's inflation, bro.
Yeah.
Seafood's not immune.
Yeah, I graduated college in 2004, and I stayed at Papado until halfway through 2007. And my parents were like, when are you going to get a real job? And I was like, I'm making $60K waiting tables. It's straight cash, homie, And
I'm living in Austin, which the job market a little bit tight. At that time, too, it wasn't an exploding city.
Well, and I didn't have any tech skills or a tech degree or anything
like that. You had that radio, television, film degree?
Yeah, that's not tech.
See, look at you now, though.
Go get a job in the film industry for $8 an hour.
Yeah,
mostly for free. Everybody's an intern in that industry.
Go hold a boom mic for free, basically, all day.
Yeah.
I did.
Gotta pay your dues. Gotta pay your dues. I gotta pay bills, too.
Right. I was on one film set my entire life. Mm-hmm. And it was enough. You remember that Alamo movie, the one with Billy Bob Thornton?
Yeah.
I was an extra in that movie.
Cool.
So I did a day shooting in that one. There's a scene where they're in a ballroom, and who did he play in that movie? He played. He didn't play Jim Bowie, did he? He played David Crockett. Yeah, so he played Davy Crockett, and there was a scene where he strolls up into a conversation with some important people, and Sam Houston's there and everything. And so basically it was Billy Bob's entrance was right by where I was set up. So he would just walk by, and we would just, it was awesome just shooting the shit the whole time. And we would find ways and it wasn't we were doing a scene together. I was just a nobody extra, but I had done acting when I was younger and stuff. And it just becomes a thing when you're there for 12 hours, just try to do things to make the other person break or laugh.
Yeah.
And it's probably not the coolest thing to do because there's thousands of dollars every take being spent. There's money being spent on film, but he'd walk by and our little group, but we're supposed to whisper we recognize him. Because he's a famous person at this point. But what we whispered was whatever we wanted because we're not mic'd.
Yeah.
And, the sound's going to be dubbed later. So I believe he's a communist. No, 4 kittens at once. Just whatever we can get. And if we get an eyebrow raise out of him, we knew that was good. But just being on that set, the monotony of shooting, especially a large set piece like that, where it's a lot of moving
And
parts.
that's a real full-on production, too.
Yeah, that's a real movie. That wasn't like a little indie film or something. And there's, 200 extras in the room, everybody in full period costume and everything. But just the amount of stand around and wait, the amount of not do jack shit and be on your feet. There's nowhere to sit. Like, you can't sit because you're in place, and they're reblocking and they're directing the actors and stuff, the people that matter.
Moving lights by inches.
Yeah, and all that for $75. But I mean, it was mainly just to say, like, you see that little blob in the back of the screen there? That's me.
Pause. There it is.
And I skipped the second day because I had a real job, and I didn't know that it would be a 12-hour thing.
Yeah.
Like, just ignorance. I didn't know. So yeah, I can see how you want to not take your RTF degree and become a.
Yeah, I did that.
You're more of a craft services guy now.
Pretty much. A lot more money, a lot less
There's
work.
a lot more money in craft services, man.
Yeah, I did like 6 months at an internship, and I was working for people who, like she wouldn't answer the phone, like I'm sitting across the desk from her, and I'm going through scripts trying to find something interesting.
Yeah,
and her phone would ring, and she would look up at me.
God, that is so Hollywood.
Yeah, and I was like, whoever. I don't
Mrs.
remember her
Ari
name.
Gold there, not able to.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, she's right here.
Just
like hand it
hand
over.
the phone. It's like, okay, well.
So your job was to make her feel important, is what your job was. Hey, not an unimportant job. That's literally all you're doing in marriage nowadays, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, and as a dad.
That's true. No, you're the center of the universe.
Yeah.
And now they're little toy plastic phones that you're handing over.
Which is funny. Do your kids do this? So when you were a kid and you were on the phone, you did this, right? You would make like the hang 10 sign.
The thumb and the pinky.
The thumb was and you would talk like a phone receiver.
Yeah. My
kids hold a flat hand to the side of their face.
Why wouldn't they?
It's like a smartphone.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
and they rarely even do that. It's usually this.
Because they've talked on speakerphone to grandma.
Looking at their open palm. Like, that's because I'm on FaceTime, you know?
Do you think maybe it's just because kids are stupid? Do you think maybe it's just they're dumb?
It's because they're way smarter than us.
They are super smarter. So my toddler has the inability to know, because we've, of course, you remember like being able, like, it was like the stuff of like Star Trek Legend to be able to see somebody when you talked to them when we were a kid.
Oh yeah.
When they came out with the video phones, they used them on the Real World show or something. We're like, oh my God, it's real, but they were terrible.
Yeah.
It was like you could just see a frame move every 5 seconds or something. But our kids are so used to like FaceTime and video chat and everything now that my toddler can't differentiate when like a phone call is happening or the baby monitor. She'll bring things up to her baby monitor, which is just sound in her room. She'll go, look.
Because if there's sound coming out of it, it can see you.
Clearly everybody can see me.
Yeah.
What a great environment we're bringing them up in, that you're constantly visible to everybody. It's realistic though.
It is.
It's true. I literally have 4 cameras running in my house right now, not counting the one that's doing the podcast. 4 cameras running in my house just to keep track of stuff.
Yeah.
Just to see things.
Just in case something happens.
Just in case, I don't know, like there's somebody trying to rob the front of the house. Somebody's jogging and a titty pops out. I don't want to.
Or if your kid falls down the stairs, so you can send it to AFV.
Yeah, obviously after you get, well, maybe like at the same time you're getting home, because you could probably upload it to the AFV website while you're calling 911.
Right.
And that's the nice thing about the cellular data now. Is
if you were going from this room to the staircase, you could access the video on the cloud on your phone, and from here to there upload it. Then and you wouldn't really lose any time between uploading and giving medical attention to your child.
I think that's smart. And honestly, I'm not a medical professional. What am I going to do? You know?
Right, exactly.
Like I don't know, just
you'd probably call for a marketing professional.
Yeah, right.
To give medical attention.
Hey, Randy, because my marketing guy's Randy.
Randy's always like the scapegoat name for
it is.
Some other person that does some other job.
Well, I think most Randys fall into that. I've never met a Randy. It's like, you know what? That's the guy that's going to be primarily responsible.
Yeah.
No, Randy's the guy that...
Ladies and gentlemen, CEO Randy...
No, he's like assistant to the regional director, Randy, or whatever. Like, what? Or, you know what? There's a lot of delivery guys named Randy, I bet.
Probably.
A lot of guys that like get blamed for package mishandling.
I bet Randy. There's a lot of Randys in... like public service.
Huh? Like what kind of job? Like what?
Well, I
kind
mean, like, he works for animal control.
Oh God, Randy! Animal control is a great Randy job.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Even like the colors of those uniforms, like the kind of shit brown or whatever, those are kind of Randy-ish.
I can see the Randy name patch on there.
And then like they might be in Austin though. They might be Randall. Like he may wear glasses and he may
church it up a little bit.
Yeah, like he may wear like like a nice fashionable pair of glasses and Randall and like have a like some of the animal control people wear a bandana as if they're a dog, like they're trying to like I've seen that more times. I don't know why. Like there's a lot of them that just wear a bandana. It's like, are you trying to relate to the collie that you're trying to like? You just want him to trust you?
Yeah.
Like, hey, look, man, I'm just part of the system like you, bro.
I got a bandana too, bro.
I got a job to do. I got to get you in the truck. All right, bro.
Makes them relatable.
Yeah, it's like, look, you're out on the streets. You got balls. I can't abide with either of those things. I got to get you back to. I got to get you back to the shelter, bro. All right, Randy.
Randy.
So, God, that 16 years of friendship thing is really blowing my mind because like, it's just one of those things that reminds you like how old you are. It's like, well, we met when I was 20. So, but we went from waiting tables together to playing music together.
That's right. We were in two different bands.
Wildly successful.
Wow.
Texas acts.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, God. How do we... So it was the dude Camden, right? He also waited tables.
He waited tables there too. Yeah. I have in my just... you forget a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. You remember that, I remember I worked at Papado for a long time, but obviously I don't remember every moment while I was at Papado. But I do have one very vivid memory of you and Camden and me. It was a lunch shift. We had just opened, so there's no tables yet. We're standing at the server station.
I remember this.
Pulling ice out of the ice well with our bare hands, which is gross.
Which totally, yeah.
And trying to throw it into one of the taxidermed fish's mouths.
And successfully, I might
Successfully.
add.
Oh, yeah, we got pretty good at it.
Yeah.
But I specifically, I have that in my brain standing there just throwing ice into a fish's mouth.
Yeah, and that probably didn't end well in the long term because we're putting a lot of melted water inside of a taxidermied animal.
Yeah.
But we weren't going to be around to see it, so who cares? And then that quickly degraded into ice for distance because it was lunch. Like lunch wasn't crowded.
It was like lunch on a Tuesday or something.
So you could like see clear down the restaurant. It's a big restaurant. And so we would try to get just ice for distance, what's the farthest table you could hit. So luckily no one died. So all turned out pretty good. God, and so that dude was a huge Pat Green fan. So much that he modeled his entire appearance and personality. I really hope he listens to this. This will be great.
Yeah.
But he modeled his entire personality on that. Whatever. We're all in our 20s. We all did that shit.
Sure. I had bleach blonde hair, for God's sake.
Yeah, no,
at some point.
Yeah, no, I'm solid look with that really jives with your upbringing in rural Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally you. But yeah, so somehow got it in, like, I started playing music with him somehow. Like he
was like a singer-songwriter, and you were obviously a guitar player, so you guys were like, hey, let's jam sometime, bro. As one does.
As 20-something men in Austin do.
When they're in their 20s,
What was the joke? Like, if you rent an apartment in Austin and comes with a guitar player?
Yeah, pretty much.
That was me. That was legitimately me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we would jam together, and, like, he was really into this country rock. It wasn't even called Red Dirt Country. Then it was called, like, Outlaw Country or whatever. Outlaw. We're fucking suburban kids.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we lived hard on the road. Like, no, we didn't.
No.
Like, hardest thing I had to deal with was not making mascot. In high school, like that was the hardest. That was
your struggle.
That was me coming up rough. I had to drink myself out of that.
That's what you're writing the blues about. Not getting to wear a chicken costume.
It was a cougar, you son of a bitch.
Oh, excuse me,
Clark Cougars, buddy. What was you're making fun of mine? You were from some Brownwood, Texas? What was the
Lions?
That is so boring. So it's like Cougars, the same thing. It's so boring.
The logo is pretty much the Detroit Lions lion,
Dude,
just a different color.
So many schools do that. They just steal
and just change the color.
They do. They just steal professional. It's like, I know schools have it rough, but I mean, I got graphic design buddies that'll do you a logo for like $300. Like, not. It won't be world beating. It won't be.
Get on Fiverr.com and get a new one.
Yeah, seriously. Like, don't just steal the Green Bay Packers because there's a G in your
Yeah,
name.
because you're from Georgetown.
Oh, God, that's so bad. But, yeah, so I would, he was into this country thing or whatever, and we started playing, and then somehow we figured out that you played bass or had a bass.
That was it. I always wanted to be in a band, and I had a guitar, and I took a couple of guitar lessons and knew some chords, but at some point I realized, like, I'm never going to be great at this. This isn't going to be a thing that
I haven't realized that yet. I'm
really, really good at.
Life hasn't smacked me in the face hard enough.
But then I was like, you know what? All these guys, and this is like in high school, like all these guys in bands are always trying to find somebody who plays bass.
Yep.
And they always convince basically the worst of the three guitar players to become the bassist.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to go around that and just get a bass. And so I got a bass, and somehow it came up in conversation. I was like, yeah, sure, let's play. And basically that ended up being you guys teaching me okay, so what do you want me to play here? You know, like, okay, I can do that. Okay, what do I do here? Okay, I can do that, you know.
Just follow Mike's index finger? Okay.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much. Oh, yeah, and then we picked up another waiter there, Joel.
We did.
To play drums. Mm-hmm. Oh, God, we were terrible. And you know, it's funny, like 2 feet behind me. Hold on.
You got the CD?
I didn't realize this till I started thinking about it. We have our 3-song demo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so...
I don't know how long it's been since I heard that.
Do I have a CD player? Is that worth our... I don't think it's worth our time to do it, but I should totally include that at some point.
Yeah.
That should just be the intro music, is that 3-song demo that we recorded in some dude's house, who I think was named Randy.
Probably.
That dude was very Randy-like, if I remember.
He was.
Oh, God. And so we recorded this 3-song demo. We started playing live, started doing all this stuff. At some point, kicked Joel out for a reason I can't entirely remember.
No, I don't remember either.
He didn't play boring country drumming like we wanted.
I think that was it.
I don't know. It was stupid. And Camden was the big driver wanting him out. I remember that.
Yeah.
And I acquiesced to it, which is now super hilarious because Joel and I are still friends. You and Joel are still friends.
He brings it up.
Oh, he's
as much as he can.
Yeah. And I think...
Because he knows it's more awkward for us than it is for him.
Yes, it was like it just saved him time in his life, basically, to not do all the bullshit we did.
And money.
And, oh, God. Yeah, that first stage of upgrading gear, thinking you're going to make it.
Recording a CD.
God, we spent $5,000 to record a CD.
Yeah, but Willie once recorded a Christmas song at that studio. So
that's true, yeah.
You know.
So it probably, I think...
Now we could do it in your house for $100.
God, why don't we, dude? Why don't we bust out the instruments right now? Because you got
to teach me a song.
I totally remember all those. That studio, it was Cedar Creek Recording Studios. And I remember we were all excited because a lot of very good artists like Adam Carroll and Cross Canadian Ragweed and all these bands that we were kind of into, or at least pretended to be into at the time, they recorded there. And I loved some of the sound recording quality, and zero of that got captured. Now, part of that's because we weren't just that talented. We weren't that good.
Right. We were also paying for the express package.
Yeah. We're like, hey, just get this done as fast as you can. So we're skipping around a little bit, but that we brought in your brother Seth as a drummer. Seth's a really good drummer. Seth is talented. And but I just remember looking back, and I can't believe I didn't see it then because I was just too self-centered as a guitar player. Well, weird, right? Mm-hmm. But they butchered his drums so bad in there.
They did. The drums did not sound great.
It sounded like you were just hitting trash cans, and they were overmixed. It was so bad. But we spent so much money to record that. But my favorite memory is, I'm sorry, it's talking shit on you. I'm not really sorry. Is that run in longer than...
I knew you were going to bring it up.
You could see it coming. You could see it brewing.
I probably did that. So there's a break in the song, right? And everything kind of fades, and then the drums come in.
Yeah, and that was about as well mixed as they sounded right there.
And then my bass line is supposed to bring back the song, right? I did not get it in... I did not so we recorded all the songs kind of live, right, without vocals. And then we went back and laid stuff on top. So I definitely missed it in the live take.
Yeah.
And then I sat there in that studio by myself with everybody else sitting in the booth looking at me. It had to be 15 tries. And then at some point Mike's like, do you do you want me to just come in and do it?
No.
No. One more. Give me one more. And I got it good enough on that one more.
We're like, all right, roll with it. Yeah, you did it. We just tried to punch it in afterwards.
Well, and it became kind of a, when you go to see a show, you go to see a band play live, you can notice they'll exchange looks or they'll kind of smile at each other at random points in the show. Mm-hmm. Well, being in a band, you come to realize that you get all these inside jokes.
Oh, God.
Just so many inside jokes in the band. So that became one of our inside jokes. Was like, all right, here comes that thing. Let's see if Luke gets it this time. And
whenever you did, it was always the biggest eat shit look you give the rest of us too. Like,
If I got it, I was like, yeah. So what are you looking at? What are you looking at, bro? But like 20% of the time, I got it. So the other times, I would miss it, and Mike would just crack up. It was hilarious.
What blows my mind about that run is that you played more complicated things in other parts of songs than that at times, and it wasn't like there was nothing magical about it. We didn't like come up with a new skill. You didn't have to reach anything crazy. It was just, it's such a great demonstration of like, you never get to pick the thing that's just like a complete puzzle to your brain and body. It's like,
I just can't do this.
That's one thing. And now and it's weird. Once you probably sitting in that room, you assign to yourself that like, this thing sucks. It was going to suck forever.
Yeah.
And because I remember, because I was sitting in the booth watching you play it, and I was sitting there just, I had a guitar in hand, like all that kind of stuff. And so I start playing it too on the guitar, and then I start playing it backwards. I started playing it in other keys, and of course I'm sharing this with Luke as he's recording just to fuck with him.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's like, hey, you want to play like this? Backwards and different keys and stuff, and just like. But I guarantee I've run across every musician I think runs across things like that. You have a part that you either write or is written for you, or the band comes up with where you're like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Like I just like you get stuck on that particular thing, and I don't. Every musician has it. There's like a transition. There's like a thing that they have to do. It sucks. Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard the story about Slash from Guns N' Roses with the intro to "Sweet Child of Mine"? Mm-mm. He hates it. He wrote it. He despises it, and he like has gone on record saying, I wish I had not written that part, because playing that every night was awful. It's so awkwardly written, and I agree, as a guitar player, it's awful. Like, it's awkwardly placed and written, and like the spacing and like the way you have to do it is strange. The way your fingers work, it's just work. Yeah. Like, I played it in a cover band, and I made the mistake of saying, yeah, I can play that part. So like 3 nights a week for a while, I was just like, stupid ass part.
Yeah.
But yeah, we shit talked that band a lot, but we did okay. As far as like Texas bands go.
So when did that band end? Like
2006,
2006 or something like that. Yeah. So I still have a box of CDs.
I have a sleeve of them as well. Yes.
So I had 2 boxes of CDs. 100 CDs per box. Yeah. And I was dragging them around, moving from house to house.
Yeah, same.
Some are just giving me hell about it. Mm-hmm. Throw those away. I will not. So
Did you record an album?
Yeah, exactly. When you get a CD, we'll replace my CDs with your CDs, okay?
And there's a picture of me looking all badass in front of a barn on the back. So, and I'm young, so please don't make me get rid of that. Because I look fucking hot.
Finally tossed one box, but I still have the other box. Yeah, and I drag it from house to house. But I got in there and I busted one out, and I listened to it, and I was like, half these songs are pretty good.
It should have been a 5-song EP. Seth said that a while back, and he's right. It should have been like a 5-song EP, because there's a bunch of tracks on there that are like, what is that? That's not even English that he's speaking. Like, the lyrics were so
But even better is my daughter loves it.
Really?
Yeah. Dad, can we listen to your songs? Oh. And then Summer's like, oh, God.
Yeah, right. I can actually feel the eye roll from here.
And I'm like, excuse me. I'm not the one that cut up a shirt and tied it in the front and tried to get people to come inside to the shows.
Successfully, I might add.
That was you.
Successfully, I might add.
Yeah.
That was
and that was during our non-romantic life partner stage.
Oh, God. That's a complete podcast right there, is the relationship with you and your wife. Denying that you were going to be...
That's a serial series.
They're like a small town... I'll sum it up. Like a small town couple, high school sweethearts, that broke up when they moved to college
Yep.
to pursue their own thing, never really dated anybody else, lived together, often slept in the same bed just because it was comfortable, continued to deny that they were together forever until after college for
Right.
years and years, and then all of a sudden they come out of the woodwork and they're getting married.
Yeah.
And to the surprise of no one.
Yes.
We're like, oh, so that person that you've been living with, sharing all your life experiences with, and sharing a bed with, you're going to go ahead and be with them? All right, man.
All right, cool.
Yeah, it was like that version of like when we got the engagement announcement, we were like, yeah.
Like, wait, they're not already married?
It's like, oh, yeah. Okay, cool. So we need to be somewhere? Do you need us to come somewhere where it's 107 degrees to watch you get married?
And that was that was kind of a middle finger to all our friends and family who had given us hell for at that point, 14 years.
Right. Yeah, sorry, it's our fault.
Yeah. Like, all right, we're getting married. But you guys all have to come to Central Texas in August. It's going to be 107.
Oh my God, it was so hot.
And dress nice because it's a wedding.
It was so hot. But
then we drank all the beer.
A lot.
We
Literally
drank
all of
a
it.
horse trough of beer.
Yeah.
And had to send my wife's, I guess at the time, who was 21, I guess.
Yeah. No, Toby just turned 21 at that
We had
time.
to send him to buy more beer.
And he did. Mm-hmm. He did well.
So much beer.
That I'll always remember that wedding for several reasons, but the other one was that we had a friend named Jay, and his wife, they like to party. They would get down, they would drink, and we got a hotel closer to Brownwood, I guess it was,
Yeah.
and instead of driving all the way in, because we knew what was going to happen, and I think we had one kid at the time. We only had the one kid, yeah, and we were hotel buddies with them. We shared a room with them. And they got so hamsky that they both like threw up, and they both passed out in the bathroom in shifts, cheering each other on while they vomited. Like, you're doing so good, baby. You're doing so good. You're doing so good. And then like he would pass out, and then he'd wake up to throw up, and she'd be like, "You're doing good, honey. You're doing so good." Like, and we were just up all night listening to like, what the fuck?
What is happening?
Like, it's sweet, but also please stop forever.
Like, you guys aren't in the gym.
They were total meatheads too, which is great because they brought that energy to the drunkenness, which I think is pretty fantastic, honestly. So we toured with that, jumping all over again. We toured with Southern Reserve. Now, Southern Reserve, we went by like 4 different names.
That was the name we settled on. Finally.
Terrible name. Change it. And I would change it right now if I could. But that was like the settle on it name because nobody liked anybody else's idea.
Right.
So,
we for the first like 75% of the existence of that band, it was Camden Markley and
These Other Dicks is basically the name of the.
But then at a certain point, like, we're all writing the songs too.
Yep.
It's like, it's no longer like, you're not like that. We're not like your studio touring band.
Yeah, we're not like
something.
We're not like the guys in the back of matching suits and bolos.
Right.
We're not those guys. Yeah, no. And I was too egotistical to ever deal with that, honestly. It's funny because Cam gets a lot of shit in that in the retrospect about the egotism and everything like that. I was just as bad, if not worse, just I knew how to disguise it better.
Right.
In my young age and make it like, oh, this is about like the music and the band. I was a fucking ego monster in those terms because I knew how to play a little bit.
Sure.
And like, okay, cool. Like, you can do that. But I way overestimated my ability. But like, it honestly would have gone better, I think, if we'd have all just said like, okay, just do country music and do what Camden wants to do and write it. I think it might have gone better. But we had this weird tension that we wanted to do a rock band. Like, we wanted to be a rock band. And we did.
Yeah, exactly.
We did.
I mean, Seth had like a 14-piece drum set.
I know.
I got tattoo sleeves.
Yeah, and I was,
and you were clearly
I was a rock player.
Rock and roll.
I still am a rock player. Like, like primarily that's how I played. Playing country was a weird fit.
I think sometimes we even try to call ourselves a Texas rock or like a country
Southern rock or country rock.
Yeah.
But we just wanted to be a rock band, so we broke off and made a 3-piece rock band.
We
after
did.
that.
That's exactly what we did.
God, it was so good and so bad. It was such a. Like, you know what I've likened that band? Sawjaw was the name of that band. Mm-hmm. And I only say that on the mic because it can't be found anywhere now.
Yeah.
Once in a while, me, you, and Seth will dig it back up and go like, "Oh, that's fucking cool."
I've definitely got. We did a 3-song
demo.
I've got that at my house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it is not, as far as I know, it has not been put on the interwebs.
No, I think that's a good thing.
It died with MySpace.
I think it did. I actually searched to see if I could find it on MySpace, and it's not there anymore. So I think we're okay. But what that band was, that was like bottle rock. That was like straight, like, you know, like just, you know, just four wheels and a fucking chassis rock and roll. Like that was it, man. And but what that band, and it was all screaming about strippers and drugs, which none of us did drugs,
right?
So, but that was completely like you were dating like a good girl, like a good Christian girl for a long time. And you break up and you realize all the things you're missing. So you're like, oh, I'm going to go nuts and bang a bunch of girls. Like,
I'm going to sow all my oats.
Yes, that was the music version of that. Mm-hmm. Is like, let's just talk about stuff that's rude.
It's like that first week at college.
Yes.
I'm going to do all this stuff my parents won't let me do.
It's fucking hedonism. It's all that you're going for. You don't know how to do hedonism.
And there was no like nuance to that music.
Nope.
It was all just loud and fast.
Nope. And I just screamed.
And just go.
I just screamed. I remember
it was fun.
I remember that dude that produced us. Carlos was his name. He's a good producer and musician himself still, and also an attorney now. So I think he figured out maybe the music thing, not gonna do it. But I remember when we were playing in there, and like we would play these songs, and I would hit the points where I'd scream, and his eyes would just go like whoop when I would scream, because he was kind of doing it along with me. He's like,
yeah,
it's like, this is exciting.
Yeah.
No, that was super fun, man. If nothing else, like I have really good memories from that. I love the shitty shows we played with that too, because we played some nobody in the room at all shows.
Oh yeah.
Some straight, like Camden always had this thing with Southern Reserve, the country band, where he had a big enough network to where even if nobody was coming, his family and friends, he had so many people to support, they would show up and we'd have somebody there. Like he was a gregarious, outgoing, social guy.
Right.
But sometimes with Sawjaw, that second rock band, we played for no one.
My favorite no one show.
I know what it is.
So we were supposed to open up for this band called Nothing More.
Nothing More. Still playing today, by the way.
Yeah, they're still playing.
They're doing pretty well.
They do the festival circuit and stuff.
Yeah, they're no longer a Christian rock funk band.
Correct.
They're just straight up. They grew up.
Yeah, pretty much.
They got out of their parents' house and they're like, we don't have to talk about how much we love God, guys.
So we were supposed to open for them, and when I say open, I mean we were on the bill before them. It's not like they were some big deal or whatever.
They were a bigger deal than us.
Yeah, but they go, hey guys, we need to switch spots, and we were like, all right, whatever. Well, the reason they needed to switch spots was because that was an 18 and up club, but San Antonio was the White Rabbit in San Antonio, but San Antonio had like a midnight curfew.
That's right.
For 18 and under.
That's right.
And so they took the like 11:15 slot and gave us the midnight slot.
So we were closing
because they were all barely out of high school themselves.
Yeah, they were babies.
So they had a huge following of that age group, and so
loyal too.
Yeah,
they were loyal,
very loyal
to that band.
Because we walk out to play at midnight and there's nobody.
Crickets. It is. Aaron was there. Aaron George.
Okay.
My long-term friend and my partner in Throw Bros. He was there. He was down in town to visit. Like, yeah, I'll come watch you guys. I was like, great. And they were like, I think the promoter of the air quotes couldn't be big enough.
Right.
The guy's wearing a fucking drug rug. Like, well, that's not that uncommon, I guess. But, and then like maybe 2 or 3 other people out there. I can't remember what. And we just rocked.
Bartenders doing dishes and restocking.
And the thing was like, nobody's upset about it. We've done this. Like, this is fine. Sometimes you play for your girlfriends, whatever. Like that's the only people. I don't think even our girlfriends were there.
No,
they were. We're not going to San Antonio.
Right.
But yeah, like I just remember like it was like, nah, okay, cool. And
we were upset because we got hoodwinked.
Sure, a little, yeah.
Because there was a crowd.
It was a good crowd for Nothing More because they were a good band. People were there for them.
Who'd have thunk?
Yeah, weird.
Well, they also had like 8 guys in the band.
That's true. So you get at least 4 people for each guy.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're saying we should have a keyboard player, a marimba guy,
sure,
castanets.
Yeah,
and those guys out there.
Where's the gong player?
Oh, I would have done the gong if you'd have asked me.
Just stand there the whole show.
Would have been better. Thank you. Yeah, I you know what? I don't remember that. I guess. So I always remember it this way, and this could be selective memory. So fast forward to what's really the funny part of the story is that I threw my guitar across the entire.
Threw it up into the ceiling.
Yeah, and then it came down
onto the concrete floor.
It was my backup. It was my old Telecaster or whatever. It was already kind of damaged, and but I don't remember doing that out of like abject rage. I don't remember. I just remember like, well, there's a lot of room out there. It'd be fun if I threw it. But but that was like 12 years ago, 13 years ago that happened now. Like, so maybe I was pissy. Maybe I was lashing out.
And maybe it wasn't so much that we got hoodwinked, but it was like we were pumped to play a show in a place. You know, the White Rabbits had
venue.
some great acts come through,
venue,
right?
Yeah.
It was pretty full.
I saw Real Big Fish there when I was a teenager.
We were pretty excited, yeah. And then like it just cleared out right after those guys left. I mean, I think everybody helped them load their gear. On the way out,
which made it fast because there's a lot of people.
Yeah, and we were like, well, shit, man.
Yeah. So we played a good set. I remember we played a good set. We rocked through it, and the aggression helped. So, but Seth kicked over his drum kit. I threw the guitar, and our Christian band buddies at Nevermore found that to be very, very disturbing. They thought that we were like dangerous criminals or something. Like, didn't they write a blog about it? I remember finding a blog about it because Nevermore had a webpage, and this was in the age of blogs. Everybody had a blog.
Yeah.
And they wrote about it, and they're like, the guys from Sawjaw were real mad, and they like threw their guitars, and we were all really scared. I was like, good. That only helped.
I would love to hear how one of them tells that story.
Oh my God. We're probably all 6'6".
Yeah.
Like covered in tattoos.
Yeah. No, because you were wearing a suit, I think.
I was, yeah.
Because why, Mike? Because rock and roll is serious fucking business.
God, I actually said that, didn't I?
At almost every show you wore a suit to.
God, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. That's an episode title.
Don't be.
Thank you.
Don't be. It was amazing.
Rock and roll is serious business. We won.
I loved it.
We won a couple of Battle of the Bands. I remember that, and I really don't think we won it because like we were excellent musicians or anything. It's just that our shit got people fired up.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people.
It was aggressive.
Yeah, because it was like early 2000s. It'd be this weird mix of like you'd either get singer-songwriter stuff or a band that had a girl at the front, or like you get like pop metal sort of, or like funky stuff like that, like Nothing More was. And then we would just be like, nope, shifted in gear.
It was just straightforward rock and roll.
Yeah, nothing complicated. Although we did have of some weird time signature stuff I was super proud of, but nobody noticed. Nobody noticed that.
I mean, it wasn't like Tool intricate.
No, because that takes what's that word? Talent. Yeah, we didn't have a lot of that. Right. So we just like, I know one weird time signature. Let's try that. And then we'd spend all practice trying to get everybody to figure that out. So bad.
And then we're like, okay, now let's learn a Silverchair song.
That seems way easier. Let's just do that.
Dum 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 dum.
Oh God, that is.
And I had a baseball's pedal and everything.
Oh, you did, didn't you?
To replicate the broken amplifier he played through.
I went through a couple of different amplifiers. Like I remember, you remember that I had the one that I had to jerry rig up. It was an amplifier that I turned into a speaker cabinet, and it would shock me. Yeah. Like I would legitimately get electrocuted plugging it in all the time.
Do you remember that I had a 5-string bass?
Oh, I do. What a total waste of a string!
Oh my God!
For everything,
like I had to. I saw some guy play one. I was like, man, that's cool. I'm gonna get one of those. And I had to find ways to use the 5th string.
Yeah. It's like, could we write an extra part here?
I should have just bought like 2 more, like just PV straight up 4-string basses.
Yeah. That would have been pretty good, actually.
Would have been a much better use of that money.
You should have gotten a dual neck bass. I think that would have probably been a better use of your time there. So we went from that to somehow running a catering company at one point.
Yeah. Well, you left for Ohio.
That's right.
For a while. That's when I got into. I worked at a marketing company for a minute, and then I went. Yeah, and
that's when you went
to culinary school.
Yeah, culinary
school with Greg.
Yeah.
The
other
infamous Greg of
Oh yeah, from our other podcast.
From our other podcast.
Yeah, Greg is a mythical figure that always succeeds in hunting and fishing.
The magical angler.
Yeah. Yeah, so we did a couple of like beer pairing dinners and stuff, and turned it into a catering company.
Delicious.
They were good. They were really good. And I was that y'all were so skilled at it, and like really, I got turned into like a prep guy is all I would do. Basically, I would handle the books, and then like do like I'll chop strawberries if you need me to chop strawberries. Yeah. That's about it. But I would just watch y'all work, and then I would just pick the beer menu, and that's when I was super into beer.
Right.
Like, super into beer and wine, and like I still have like I'm a what is that thing? Certified beer server. I'm Cicerone. That's right. I'm still that. And like I'm just not. Me and craft beer went through a divorce a few years back. Where I was like, this is obnoxious.
Like, I'm over it.
This is obnoxious. I'm gonna pick the 3 things I like and drink those a lot. And also I got older and I just like figured, hey, I can get wasted way faster on liquor. So if I'm gonna have alcoholism, I'm gonna be efficient about it,
right?
At least.
And not get fat.
Yeah, or fatter. That's what I'm gonna do. But yeah, that was actually pretty fun because that was a fun little foray into entrepreneur type stuff. But this was a cool thing about it though, honestly, looking back, like we didn't really lose that much money at all going into that. We went in very low risk, and you still have some of the catering gear or whatever, like you still use that for things.
Oh, I made so I took when we cashed out, I think we made money. We didn't lose any money.
Yeah. No, that's true.
We cashed out, instead of taking a third of the money, I took like I don't know, a sixth of the money and all the catering equipment.
Way better deal.
And so then what I did was when I ran a restaurant for a little while, I sold all the catering equipment to that restaurant.
Yeah.
And I ended up making more money
than you would have
if I would have cashed out.
Yeah, weird. It's almost like the assets matter more.
Yeah.
Well, because those things don't, degrade. They're not food products. It's like everybody's going to need like chafing dishes at some point.
Yeah, chafing dishes.
Chafing dishes.
Chafing dishes is what I like to call them. And coolers and hot boxes and, glassware and all that stuff. It's not, I mean, some of it's going to get broken, but you're not going to lose that much.
Yeah, that was a much smarter move. But that was I
still have I still have 2 of the.
I remember those big giant
big coolers. I just used one this weekend.
I think what was so great about it was it was a very clear demonstration of what happens when everybody realizes this, like what it's become or what it is not what you want to do.
Right.
Because we realized that we could make money catering and not doing adventurous fun catering, just catering events. You could make money that way.
We turned a higher profit margin on things like taco lunches and graduation brunches than we did on our beer pairing events.
Yeah, those were almost like passion projects, but the stuff that made money was the other. And we just realized, especially, and I give credit to you and Greg because I wasn't in there creating and doing it.
Right.
And I was happy to book all the catering gigs in the world because I didn't have to do them. I didn't I would be there, I would help, and I would
Sure, I'll sit on this computer and talk on this phone.
Sure, yeah. Or I would like show up and help coordinate or something, or load in, load out, but I wasn't prepping in the kitchen for, 6 hours before.
Yeah.
And it was just this realization of like, this ain't it. And I think that's such a cool thing now looking back when you look in like the experience role that you have or whatever. Or you look back in your Rolodex of experiences and realize like, oh yeah, I found a thing I didn't want to do. Or I found a thing that like I was only doing it for the money.
Well, what I think is interesting is like, I think it's cool to be able to do something successfully. And walk away. Can do that. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, that's true. And y'all, I mean, I think we were good. Because I
don't have to.
Yeah, like the only thing...
It's a nice luxury, right?
It is, because we all had other employment and other things at that time going on.
Right, and kids were coming along and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, and it's just like the worth it point wasn't there. It was a nice luxury. But it is kind of cool to know that like, hey, you know what? If I didn't have other employment, we could have put the pedal down and made some cash.
Yeah, if I get fired tomorrow and I can't find a job somewhere else, I can go drop a couple $100 on some gear and start catering this week.
Yeah.
And be successful at
it. And it's one of those businesses where there's like, it never seems to fill up. The market segment never fills. Like there's always room for another caterer.
Always.
Because there's probably every day there's one going out of business or somebody's, taking a week off or like there's a thing they didn't book.
Yeah.
Like forever you could do it. Yeah. It was, I remember the coolest event that we did was that like launch event we did where we were inside a brewery and you guys made all this, like we paired with their beers.
Yeah.
And you guys did, oh my God, you did like these, I don't remember all the stuff you did. You did like of course you did something with pork belly because it's Austin.
Yeah.
I remember like everything in Austin has to include. It's a law downtown.
Yeah.
If you do any sort of event, it has to have pork belly stuff on it. But what did you do? You did like carrot cake cups or something like that.
I don't remember everything we made. That we had there was like a blackened shrimp crostini for one thing that we did. We did something with it was like pork and a cherry gastrique. Oh, we totally swiped this sauce. Greg and I worked at the sushi place that had a fried apple puree on a dish, and we did that with some pork tenderloin, I think.
I mean, if you're going to straight up steal something,
fried apple puree.
Fried apple puree is a pretty good way to do it.
It's the winner, dude.
God, that is pretty awesome. So, yeah, man, that's being in that role and walking away. Like that was to me, like that actually encouraged me more to go on and do more stuff. Like that was kind of a turning point for me, is like that stopping and realizing like I liked that. I like the mentality that went into that of doing everything, like having to figure stuff out on the fly. Mm-hmm. That was extremely fun to do. Like there's
a lot of make it work.
Yeah.
In catering.
Yeah, and like not like
there's so much coordination required as well.
Right.
You have to plan ahead. You've got to shop. Right, you've got to know what you can buy way out and what you have to buy right before.
Yeah,
you have to know what you can prep way out and what you have to prep right before.
And you're going to screw up. Like, well, you don't know. You think at first like you got your ducks in a row. Like you're smart. You can. I'm educated. I can do this. But it becomes less of like don't make mistakes and more of like how do I minimize my mistakes?
Yeah. Well, something always goes wrong.
Yeah. And that's, I think,
for a catering, and
especially
always
food service.
Something different.
Yeah, especially the food service, especially. Always there's going to be an X factor. You can't control stuff.
Yeah.
Like you cannot, because it's very people oriented. Mm-hmm. It's very oriented around that. And you just, and
it's food too, right? So,
sure.
Oh, we left that out on the counter all night. So we got to throw that away, which means we got to go make that now.
I remember one in particular, we didn't soak the skewers for the shrimp one time.
Yeah.
So they're just charred beyond recognition. Mm-hmm. Like that was small stuff like that. But that's the things like if you're at was that a wedding that we did? Or something at like a place where there was weddings, I think. I think it was somebody's wedding.
Probably.
And we did those. And like that's one of those things where like you would never notice the quality of the skewer, until you get one that's charred beyond recognition and leaves black all over your fingers. You never notice it. And that's such... lessons like that are kind of cool. And I think what it also fired off in me was... I made a long post about this on my social media recently. Is like... I kind of go through... If you haven't noticed, like I think we're both kind of guilty of it. We go through these like... Start something new, get really into something new, like the rabbit hole thing. Like that's what this podcast basically is, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I talk about on this. Is like I want to start something new all the time, and then like I get to a certain level of proficiency, and then I get distracted, or like I don't keep going on. And I used to like this thing was like this quote that I read. This was a long reply to me in a comment somewhere, but I kind of stole it. Is that. This person said that they used to beat themselves up about like not getting to be an expert or not sticking with things until they were an expert in them, and then like abandoning or whatever. And then they realize, or not getting great at their hobbies, and then realizing though that no, my hobby is starting new things. That's my hobby. I like the idea of getting into something, learning the inner working, starting to get good at it, and understanding at a level that most people don't, just getting far enough, and then maybe... let it, the terms I've used before, these kind of like corporate sounding terms are like it's integrate or elevate. And like sometimes you elevate a thing to where like it becomes like, that's what I'm doing. Like, like how cooking was for you. That was a hobby forever. And then it became the thing, like it became what you do. Or you just integrate it into who you are and you move on.
And you're just somebody who's really good at that thing.
Right. Or at least better than average, right?
Yeah, well, that's,
to where you're not a dummy when it comes up.
That's what my neighbor does. He every year he takes on 2 hobbies.
Wow.
And he spends a year working on those 2 hobbies. That's
a high rate of hobby acquisition. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
And have him on here.
Dude, he's fascinating dude to talk to. Knife making and bees were his hobbies this year.
How did you get those to intertwine though? That's what I want to see.
Good luck.
Have the bees make knives.
Stab a bee with a knife. But I've seen the knives and they are awesome.
Nice. That working with metal, man. That is something I can't do. And that is something when I think of men that I know, like most people that I know that are men can work with metal. I can work with wood, but whatever. Wood's soft.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't require me channeling fire.
And you can work with wood with one trip to Home Depot.
Sure. Yeah. That's right.
When you get into metal, I mean, you need a freaking furnace and certain kinds of equipment.
You have to control fire.
You have to control fire and melt metal and then bend that metal into what you want it to be.
See, I'm telling you, that's a at some point that'll become a thing for me. If I end up getting a little tract of land like I want to, that's going to end up being a thing.
Well, and that's what Greg, the mythical Greg,
he doesn't exist. He's just who we wish we were in our minds.
He's taking or he's just finishing up blacksmithing and welding classes.
Oh man, he's gonna
that's
be
both.
See, he's a man.
He's a man.
Greg is a man. He catches fish, he hunts, he provides for his family, and he works with metal. God, and he's also taller than me. Son of a bitch. He's everything.
But you know what negates all that? And I can't wait till Greg hears it. He's a ginger.
Oh God, yeah.
So that drops him down like 10 pegs.
Maybe that's why he's had to do so many other things. Maybe he's had that drive. It's like, you know what? I know I'm not going. If there's a heaven, I'm not going to it. So I need to make the best I can of this worldly existence, or I need to be the strongest one in hell.
I don't have a soul, so I'm gonna take souls and try to learn how to build souls.
Oh God, that is. Wait, are you talking about like shoemaking? Cobbling?
Yeah.
Make souls? Okay, good. See, we can't have Chef Luke on without puns.
Without puns.
I'm real sad.
I'm surprised I got this far, I was going to say.
I kind of had to nudge it a little bit. Yeah, I'm a little upset, honestly. But yeah, I think you're kind of cut from the same cloth in a lot of ways. That's why we end up like our paths cross on projects like Camo and Hooks, like the other podcast. Like that's why they cross, because we like trying new stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I'm ever going to be the best in the world at something. Probably good chance I'm not. Statistically, not likely, right?
Right.
That I'm gonna
So
be the best.
I actually took, everybody in high school takes an aptitude test.
Yeah.
At some point, right? And then you go meet with the guidance counselor and they talk to you about your results and here's what it says you'd be really good at.
Yeah.
So I took my aptitude test. I went in to meet the counselor and she goes, I've been doing this for however many years, 15 years. She said, I've never seen results come back like this. Your results across all the different kinds of skills are so well balanced.
Just even.
It can't predict a path.
That is so incredibly awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that...
And frustrating.
Right. No, that is very frustrating.
When you're 16 years old and you just want somebody to tell you what to
do.
be.
Yeah. Tell me what to be in life. Like that's it. I 100% share that experience. I don't think I had that test in the traditional sense like that one. They had some weird experimental thing. And I think it told me to be an English professor. I'm like, oh, thanks. That's great.
What else you got?
Yeah. I'd like to redraw.
Hard pass.
Yeah. Can I reach in again to the hat and get one? But I totally share that, the frustration. Like, I can frame it and make it sound really fun and cool now to be a jack of all trades. And it is cool now.
A jack of all trades and a master of none.
Master of none.
I love that.
Master of none. But that master of none is
I also like
important.
to refer to myself as a Renaissance man.
Yes. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it because nobody else enjoys calling you that. I just want you to know that.
No, I know they don't. And that's why I continue to do it.
Good. So you're going to push the issue.
Yeah.
Push the button harder. Good.
Yeah, my wife really loves it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, though half the fun is frustrating your wife with your own self, with the own titles you give yourself. It's like, hey, call me this from now on.
Yeah. In my wife's phone, I'm the Luker.
The Luker. Nice. That's your own.
I never really had a nickname. And so sometime while we were working at Papado, I decided I'm going to be the Luker.
Yeah.
And so I just started telling people to call me that. And
I can't believe that didn't take.
It's just me.
Can't believe that didn't take.
Yeah.
It's got
my wife's phone.
Real ring to it. But it is frustrating at a certain point of development, and certain times still it's frustrating to me because I see people like my wife who knew when they were young the profession they wanted. Mm-hmm. They chased it, they worked for it, they became it, and they are that.
Yeah.
I see people like my brother who was always a super talented athlete, at some point decided in high school, like, hey, I want to play baseball and I want to go to the big leagues and do it. And he had the skill and he had the wherewithal to do it, and he focused to do
discipline.
The discipline to do it. And I've never had that, and I beat myself up about it forever. And it is frustrating to be, this sounds like, a really shitty kind of complaining, but to be pretty good at a lot of stuff can be frustrating because you never have that clear cut of like, oh, this is what you're meant to do.
Right.
This is what the only thing I could tell you that I'm meant to do that this whole skill set makes me good at is being a dad. Honest to God, it makes you really good at being a dad.
It does.
Because you're never dumb in a situation.
Right.
You're never like, I have no familiarity with that son, I'm sorry. Like, or you're never dumb.
You know a little bit about almost everything.
Yeah, and it certainly helps. It makes you fun at parties too.
Yeah. Well, you can talk, you can carry on conversations. I've got some kind of experience with a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know that there's anybody that I couldn't stand with and just have a conversation.
Right. Until you get to people that are very, very extreme and narrow experts, like somebody that understands quantum physics at a level I don't.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to talk beyond the broad concept.
Sure.
Like, we're not going to have too much to talk about. But I think that's okay because, again, statistically.
But that makes you more fun at a party than that guy.
that quantum physics guy, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or girl.
Right. But, also, like, he's going to invent time travel before me. So I'm sure he's okay.
He's like, that's fine.
Cool, man.
Whatever.
Good job mixing that drink up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that also shows you, though, like, yes, there are going to be people that are, like, extreme experts. And the world needs those because those are the people that drive the world forward, for sure. But also, statistically speaking, there's not many of those people.
Right.
So the rest of us are making the world go around. So it's probably better, like, if everybody, okay, maybe you should know how to change your tire.
Mm-hmm.
So the rest of us don't get stuck behind you on the freeway. Like, maybe, like, that helps with the whole teamwork. And that's probably why most of us are not high-level experts and stuff. But there's, like, I don't know, as I've gotten older, I guess I've made peace with it because realizing that, yeah, I'll probably never be the best in the world. Right. Like I was saying, I'll never be the best in the world at anything. But if I can be better than most people at a lot of stuff, that's a really fun life.
I'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, it is pretty cool. Like, I don't know. And you see it in, like, again, I go to the parenting thing. I try to instill that in my kids because, like, what if you, like, let's say, your little girl, Sadie, let's say at some point she shows, like, an extreme talent in something. Like, she, she's an incredible artist, or she shows that she can wire a computer up by the time she's 11 or something like that. Like, she built her own calculator. Like, she shows an extreme talent in something and and she starts to have a vision, or she's like, I want to be a doctor or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's good, and you want to encourage that, but I would want
But
them
I don't want that to be the only thing she does.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, you want them to be well-rounded. Yeah. Like, you would want that for her.
Absolutely. Yeah. You want them to be able to be, a productive member of society. Yeah. And to be self-sustaining.
Yeah, and not even just like, if you become great at sport, a profession, a science, whatever, and a great writer, anything, like, you're going to contribute to society, right? But are you going to feel comfortable in society to the people you're contributing to? Like, are you going to be like a Nikola Tesla, where you're brilliant, but you literally can't leave your house or ever talk to a woman?
Right. Or another example would be athletes. Yeah. You spend your entire life doing nothing but that sport. Yeah. And because you're so good at that sport, you get to skate through school. Yeah. And because you're so good at that sport, nobody gives you, everybody gives you everything. You don't have to earn anything. And then you break your leg.
Right. And now you have no tools.
No tools.
Yeah.
No marketable skills other than I was that guy who was really good and broke my leg.
And that's an interesting one too, because you're tying that in. You tied that into the body, which body mind, same thing, right? But like, if you have a mental skill, like if you're a great writer or something like that, there's very little. Like, if you break your leg, okay.
Yeah, but if you get in a car wreck and have a head injury,
sure, like, that can do it. But like, with an athlete, it's like they still have to inhabit the world. Right. In the same way, without like the primary skill that they have. Yeah, and that's perfectly said. And I think that's a real trap for a lot of athletes. I coughed the name Ricky Williams, but I think he's a great example of somebody. University of Texas, God bless them. They're great at turning out star athletes who aren't really prepared for the real world.
Vince Young.
Cedric Benson. There's a long list of those guys. And, I think a lot of D1 schools do that. And yeah, I'm totally with you. Like, that's a failing of Of course, the individual. I'm going to put that on them first because they have control. But man, when you're handed the world on a silver platter, when you're 19 years old for being a great running back,
is a big problem.
It's a big problem. But also it's the entire system of making their education secondary to their playing. Like college is where I started getting into all this, man. College is where I did the first like real do whatever thing where I was like, I'm going to take a different PE class every semester and I'm going to take every different elective I can and like learn all this stuff. That's where you
broaden your horizons.
Yeah, and you
meet new people.
And when you're an athlete, I know this from my brother's experience, is that when you're a D1 athlete, especially like when you're one of the studs or whatever, you're playing one of the primary sports, you don't hang out with a lot of people that aren't athletes or people that are associated with that sport. You don't hang out with a lot of different people. You don't see a lot of different, like you don't meet like the shut-ins that play D&D. Like you don't, you don't have a LAN party with somebody.
You don't meet a lot of people from other cultures.
No, that's very true. And like,
as well.
Unfortunately, a lot of sports are very monolithic in their culture. That's true. Like, unfortunately, in football, it's going to be a lot of young African-American men.
Sure.
That have, maybe not from similar backgrounds, but like, maybe somewhat similar stories. And in baseball, it's probably going to be, in college especially, it's going to be a bunch of young white men.
Yep.
Like that probably their parents were doing okay because travel baseball is not a cheap thing to do. Like, so yeah, like same thing. Even in hockey sports like that, like.
You can meet a lot of the same people.
Yeah, exactly. People with the same story that kind of led to the same thing. So yeah, I think that's really, really well said, man. That's a good point. Like, but that's what I don't want. If you have a kid that has an extreme talent, it's like, okay, just don't be a dummy outside of that.
Yeah.
Don't be that. Go ahead and please make $1 million on your pitching arm or whatever. Please.
Sure.
That'd be great.
Great.
Yeah, or your softball swing. I guess since we have girls, we should say that too.
Golf, baby.
Golf. There you go.
I'm at least hoping for a free college education.
That's all. And maybe even discounted, I'd be happy with.
Sure.
Partial scholarship for something like golf or, volleyball or something like that'd be great for the
Sadie's not going to be a volleyball player.
Why, Luke?
Because my wife and I are very short, Michael.
Yeah. Well.
So golf.
So golf it is.
I'm going to start teaching Sam how to kick here pretty soon.
Nice.
Kicker.
Oh, are you going to steal my plan? This is my plan. You know that, right?
What?
You may think this is your idea. I've been saying this for years. I need to teach one of my kids to just be a field goal, a place kicker, or a punter.
That's what I'm going to do. That's my plan for Sam.
Maybe I'm just not original.
I think there's a lot of guys who have this plan, but...
Make league minimum.
Yeah.
And just punt. I used to say place kicker, but place kicker is high pressure, man. And you can get cut pretty quickly. There's a lot of instability. If you can punt, do that. Punting's cool. Coffin corners, man. Yeah, I'm the first person ever to say punting's cool.
Punting's cool. You and punters are the only people who say punting's cool.
I'm not even sure more than 50% of punters would be okay with that. They're like, yeah, I know. I know that the place kicker could come do it if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But somehow we cut out a niche here. Don't
tell them.
I think you and I were joking about that the other day that like, legitimately, like if you've been in like football practice at any, high school or above, like, every position has, they have drills and then they have, they'll work on everything together. They'll run the playbook and then they'll scrimmage or whatever. Everything's all put together by position. But kickers, like, just go kick.
Kickers and punters are just off by themselves.
The kickers and punters just hang out and kick all day. Do you think that the kicker never tries to punt and the punter never tries to place kick? Of course, because when one goes out, who does that job? The other kicker.
The other one, yeah.
Maybe that's why I enjoy punter that much more, because it's just the greatest scam ever. It's like, no, you have to catching that ball, and then kicking it as a totally specialized skill.
And what I love is when somebody's they're like on the 35. It's like or maybe the 40, right? It's just like that's a long field goal, but we don't really want to bring out the punter. So like the quarterback will pooch kick, and the punter's in the corner just like going, oh, please don't figure that out. Please don't figure that out.
I know. I hope this is terrible. This is terrible.
Shank it. I know you're on my team, but shank it. Otherwise, they'll know.
The whole sandcast, the whole house of cards comes tumbling down on me. That's
we should. You know what we should do? We should start a punt, kick, and kick.
A punt, kick, and kick. A camp for kids. Yeah. What is the other kick? It's just more of the kicking.
It's more of the kicking. Yeah.
It's just,
that's a dealer's choice. You get to either punt or kick. Just kick the ball. That's all you got to do.
The third kick is pooch punting. So,
No, it's punting, it's field goal kicking, and then kickoff kicking.
Oh, that's right. That is
The kickoff and the field goal, those are different.
That's true. So why don't they have a third kicker for that? Because I think teams are like, that's enough.
Essentially, it's the same thing. It's like, look, we already have a punter and a kicker.
Yeah.
We're not going to have a kickoffer and a place kicker.
Yes, this guy convinced us that long snapping is a skill that only he can do. So
Yeah.
we want to take that roster.
You got one guy standing on the end of the line picking his nose. He's 5'9". Like, who's that? Oh, it's the long snapper.
Long snapper, yeah. Well, what else does he do?
That's it.
Well, you see, when it's he has to snap it a long way, he goes in.
Right.
So, but when it's a short snap or a medium snap,
And he doesn't have to be big and strong because nobody can touch him.
right? That's true. I think he's
He doesn't have to block. He's got two giant guys on either side.
What a weird
Nobody's allowed to line up in front of him.
what a weird sport. I can understand how people in foreign countries look at our football and like, what?
Yeah.
How do you what? So they can't do this with their hands at this point? Yeah, it's because people like touchdowns.
Yeah.
I get it. And, so with the kicking thing, though, like, the problem I have is I can't kick worth a shit. So I would have
That's what YouTube's for, bro.
No, that's right. And you know what's so cool about YouTube, man, is that you can get a bad rap for being YouTube educated. I get that, but man,
It's really helped in our pursuits.
yeah, all
Like
of them.
if you just want to be like, I want to be good at a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I'll just watch somebody do it on YouTube and be like, okay, like I don't have any car training.
or I don't have access to a guy who's an expert fly fisher.
Right.
I do actually, but but I don't have access to somebody who modifies cars, or like I don't have access to that. Like I think what it takes to place of, and this is something like I think there needs to be a comeback, is like, because dudes suffer from this really bad, is that show me how to do that, show me what you're doing there. Like,
Yeah.
because I think dudes let their ego get in the way of that a lot of times.
Yeah.
Of like, not like just how you and I were talking. I don't want to be the dummy. I don't want to be the guy that doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But you got to get over that and be able to say to an expert when you watch them do something, like, if you're camping, you watch a guy start a fire in 30 seconds, like, show me how you did that.
See, I have none of that like man pride.
No, I got rid of that a long time ago.
I will
Well,
always. How do you do? Like, because I don't want to have to pay you to do this again.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
Right? Like, okay, so how did you do that? Where does that go?
And me not knowing, I hate that feeling worse than me having to like give up on my pride and ask you.
Yeah.
Like, I hate the feeling of like, I don't know how to do, like, I would just rather like swallow my pride and be like, dude, you're awesome. Show me how to do that.
Yeah.
But YouTube takes the place of that sometimes because you don't have access to the experts. And I think that's a really cool thing to it. I mean, of course you have to be careful to like, you can't.
Don't base your home repair on the first YouTube video you watch.
Yeah.
You got to watch like 5 or 10 guys do it and realize like, okay, that first video, that guy was a moron because all these other people have way better ways of doing it. They're all cheaper and smarter and faster.
Right, because anybody can put one on YouTube.
Yeah,
Anybody
that's
can
the
do it.
thing.
And you have to.
Well, that's what I talk to my students all the time, like culinary students. I'm like, watch YouTube videos. Don't just watch one YouTube video.
Yeah.
On something you're trying to learn how to do.
Right. There's literally more than one way to skin a cat. Like and it doesn't mean that one is wrong or one is right, but I think what it does, it gives you like, again, like you're creating an average. You're creating a mean of things that work for you. Like, and like, again, I'm not as knowledgeable in the world of, of culinary arts, but like, and when I look at something like sport, like a throwing thing or something in martial arts, it's like, you kind of have to figure out what works for you and your talents too. Because so sometimes it's worth finding people that are either more mentally your ilk or have the same gear that you do or are built like you are. Like you find that sort of stuff and it's like, okay, now I think that makes more sense to me than technique one that I found there.
Right.
I think, I don't know. Like, but yeah, the education by YouTube, it's good, but yeah, it can also turn you into overconfident. Like don't, oh God, I had a great example for this, but like, don't go out in the world thinking like, hey, I watched this one thing, like, again, going back to the fire thing, if you're going camping, like, oh, there's this cool fire making technique. I watched it on YouTube one time and I haven't tried it yet, but I'll go try it.
Right.
You're going to get wet and cold is what's going to happen.
Yeah, because when you try to pull up that video out in the woods.
Right.
You're toast.
And just because you can see somebody else do it, just because you see it done, doesn't mean that it translates to you physically being able to make those things happen with your body yet.
Yeah.
And that what it is, it reminded me is like I watch a ton of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Instagram videos and like because they're fun to watch and they show you these wild techniques. And I'm not like currently formally training jiu-jitsu anymore, but like I will watch and be like, well, I can remember to do that if I ever get in, like, if I'm grappling with a buddy or like if I can remember that. Like, no, you can't.
Nope.
Because I had a great demonstration of it. I did a seminar, a Muay Thai seminar. I was part of a Muay Thai seminar, and at the end of it, we did a burnout drill with like it was 100 kicks or whatever. And the guy that I was drilling with, he was my partner for the day. He's also a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, newly minted black belt, but great dude. Also, just a bad dude. But sure. of course a sweetheart because he trains. Like he's a nice guy, but just killer. And we're at the end, we're all exhausted, everything. And I like jokingly go for a very slow single leg takedown on him. And like, ha ha ha, and like just kind of, I do a little bit of proper wrestling and like keep my head up so he doesn't guillotine me. He drops down, like not fast or mean, just like snaps his hips on top of me basically and crushes me to the ground, like with my leg underneath me still. Then he wraps around and he turns, rolls on his back and flips me, a 200+ pound man, just head over heels while we're on the ground. Like he's just kind of like turned. So I flip over and he's got me in an anaconda choke. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't remember any of that stuff that I saw on YouTube or Instagram.
Defend all this?
Like that happened so fast. And even though it was slow, we were joking, tired, like ha, laughing the whole time. It was like that was still so quick. Right. That was less than a second to where I got turned the other direction. It's like, yeah, I don't think just watching stuff helps very much. Yeah. Especially when your neck is on the line.
Yeah.
So, I have video of that too.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
I know you would. I haven't shared it broadly yet. Like, I didn't know how cool it would be to show, like, well, look, I don't care that I get shown making an ass myself, but I don't know how cool he is of being like blasted out on the internet or anything like that. But yeah. We were filming part of the
he comes out on top, so.
That's true. I guess he wouldn't mind. But I think everybody that knew would know that he was going to come out on top.
Sure.
It's like, that's not a surprise. Yeah, but I still enjoy education by video, though. I think it's useful, and especially in the hunting and fishing world where we hang out now. Because
and I think that's another case where you have to be very careful watching what people are doing, because unless they are Central Texas whitetail deer hunting,
it's different.
Whatever they're doing is different than what you need to be doing.
Yeah, it is. And so this is a complete 180, but it also reminded me too is like this is a conversation that's happened around my neighborhood a lot. Is there's a new thing of like, and this is totally rabbit hole style here, but like. There's a new thing of like parenting by video instruction, or like there's people that are like purporting to be parenting experts out there, and like they have big Instagram followings and big YouTube followings.
Oh,
and
you mean
like,
people learning how to parent by watching parenting videos.
Or like they're giving advice and running seminars for people and stuff, and they're not experts. Like they're just people that like
like you can't get a degree in parenting.
Right. You can
there's no way to be certified.
Right. Like if you're a child psychologist and you do research, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll listen. But you're going to be in a published journal somewhere also.
Right.
So I can read that, or like you're going to be known for that. But like there are people that legitimately are just moms that just have a big Instagram following and everything looks charming and nice.
And now people pay to hear them talk about it.
People pay to hear them talk about it. And, it's a weird thing for me because obviously I don't mind if you want to have like an image on Instagram. You want to like, put up like images of your family that make you happy and that you want to show off. That's fine. That's awesome. That's great. But when it starts to be like, hey, listen to what I'm trying to teach you here. Like, so that's the thing. You and I both, though, we're both like, yeah, learning by YouTube is great. Learning by video is great. Why do we both react that way when it comes to parenting and stuff?
Well, it's just like what I was saying, every situation is different, right? If you're trying to learn how to hunt in Arizona by watching hunting videos from Alaska, you're not going to get the right information.
Yeah.
Your location is different. The animal you're dealing with is different.
Yes.
The situations you're going to find yourself in are going to be different. The climate is different.
The weapons you're using.
Whether that's literally weather or whatever, right? Psychological climates. That is not something... I mean, it's one thing to say like, oh, hey, like, here's a cool thing for you and your family to do that's fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's cool.
But don't tell me how to deal with a situation because you don't know, like, okay, here's how you deal with a crying kid. No. Kids cry for 1,000 different reasons.
That's a low number.
And you don't know what led up to that. You don't know how many times we've dealt with this situation. You don't know my kid. You don't know me. You don't know the way I was raised. You may tell me to do something to my kid that's been done to me my whole life, and I hate it. And I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like...
that is, to me, that is garbage. It is garbage.
It's not transferable. Like there's no,
at all.
You can't create parallels just by saying like this worked for my family, it's going to work for yours. It's like, yeah, like if you take an extreme example and like these are all, pretty well-to-do suburban people talking to each other, right?
Absolutely.
But, yeah, always. But imagine like some of that parenting advice or those things coming across to, an urban mom of two with 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to relate and it's not going to work.
You don't tell me that I have to sit down and have dinner with my kids at the table with the TV off every single night.
Yeah, it's not going to work. Like sometimes I got to feed them while I'm walking around getting ready for work.
You have no idea what my situation is.
No,
and you can't say that you're better than me because you do that.
And I guess maybe why you and I both go about that, other than like, hunting or kickboxing or something like that, is because now we're like lives are in the balance. The quality of lives are in the balance. And that's a big deal. Yeah, I do get that without there not being a lot of parallels. But like, it's also...
You're a lifestyle expert in your very specific lifestyle.
Yeah.
Based on your socioeconomical situation.
Yeah.
Right? And that can't be replicated.
It's true. I mean, so...
Even if you take 2 housewives that live in the same city, in the same neighborhood, whose husbands make the same amount of money or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. You can have 2 very, very similar situations. But psychologically, emotionally, every human being is different.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have had a kid on the same day. You're raising the same age kid. They're both boys, whatever.
I mean, going even further, man, you can have twins and you have to treat both of them. You have to handle each of them differently.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about these 2 different ladies, right?
That's true, yeah.
Same city, same, economic status, both raising boys that are the same age, that go to the same school. You're still going to deal with a crying kid differently.
Yeah, that's true.
If those kids both get bullied by the same bully in that school and come home, each one of you is going to deal with that situation differently.
Because we don't get to control the genes in their body.
Because you're a different human being and because they're different human beings.
None of us get to control which genes get flipped on and off.
Right.
And none of us control everything outside of the world. Like you can't control that. So Ashley and I were talking about this subject because it's been coming up and everything, like the parenting by internet or like the parenting experts or like lifestyle charming kind of people. And like, I get irritated by it for different. I think any rational person agrees, like, the parenting advice, but I get irritated by like over curation of like Instagram stuff of especially when it involves family. So here was the tipping point, and it'd be interesting to see where you stand on this. Like my Instagram with my following, all Instagrams are curated collections, right? Nobody's seeing every minute of my day. Nobody's seeing it. Nobody saw like me setting up in here and having to help Ashley with her computer, and then like the memory card not working on the podcasting. Nobody sees that,
right?
Like they get no insight on that, but they see the curated part. But I think I try to at least show some reality. I at least try to show things aren't always great. Things are funny or things are ridiculous, but it's still curated how I want it to be.
Yeah.
That's the same thing that a lot of like the Insta-Moms are doing. Like they're making everything like the photos have a certain filter, everything's a certain level of charm, everything has a certain like, every like all the toys, like there's never a kid on a screen or anything like that. Like all those sort of things, they're curating the same way. Why do I find it so much more irritating to do that than what I'm doing? Because you know what I'm saying? Like I'm in terms of like whatever I'm doing in here, fitness, hobbies, hunting, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Like I'm kind of curating and finding the cool stuff and not showing as much of the dirt and the everyday. So why is it so much more irritating to me for a mom to do that with her family? Am I justified in being more irritated by that? Like to the point where it's not like, here's some fun portraits of my family and here's what we're doing. It's like the nice pictures with a wonderful message underneath them every time.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's because they're, they paint a picture that's that you're like, there's no way that's true.
Okay.
You're
Yeah.
like, no, that's not right. There's no way that's true all the time.
Sure.
And that's all you show. Right?
Yeah.
So that would, my equivalent to that would be a hunting Instagram that's all grip and grins.
Okay, that's all just them with the dead animal. Like, got this one. This was a big buck. Blah blah blah. Okay.
And that's all. It's all like, look at all these big animals I've killed. Right?
Yeah.
Scroll through my Instagram. How many sunsets do you see?
Lots of it.
How many tangled reels?
Yeah, it's like just
Right?
great to be out here.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
great to enjoy the outdoors.
Right. So yours is not like your kids posed like doing something amazing, right?
Yeah.
It's like your kids wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, this is life. Click.
Yeah.
It's much more like this is.
But it's not totally honest because I'm not showing them like, I'm not showing a toddler waking up covered in pee.
Right.
I'm not
Or
showing
them
like
fighting or
and
whatever.
stuff. Like, like that's so there's a limit.
Yeah. And I don't think you need to show that stuff, right?
That would be funny though.
Yeah. I think everybody knows that stuff happens, and I think if you dial it back to some like just stuff that happens,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, you don't want to show the bad stuff. Nobody wants to show the bad stuff because we all know that happens.
Yeah.
But if you just show stuff that happens and not just the best version of stuff that happens, right? I feel like that's where the disconnect is.
So, but what if they're, and I'm creating a million hypotheticals
Sure.
here. What if like it's not that even like they're trying to sell a service or something like that? It's just like I love photography, and I'm around my kids more often than I'm around anything else, and I want to share like.
So is it? But I think the question, and it goes to like intent. Is it about the photography, or is it about you trying to look good for everybody on social
I see what
media?
you're saying. Yeah, I see.
Is it about the actual composition of the photo and not what you're trying to represent by the photo?
Yeah.
Right? I think all these lifestyle bloggers and Instagrammers and stuff we're talking about that started this conversation are trying to say like, look how great everything is for me and how well I do all these things and blah, blah, blah. It's not about the actual photo.
Yeah, I know that's well said. Yeah, and like because I guess the analog would be like, or not an analog, but like a way to think about it would be if somebody was like a talented sketch artist and they did like really wonderful sketches of their family and they just posted those. Well, that would be clearly more of like, hey, this is just this is my art and what I do and what I want, and I'm not trying to teach you any lessons,
Right.
Anything like that. I'm not trying to tell you how great
Right,
I am.
especially when you've got these lifestyle with the, like you said, with the quote on there.
Yeah.
Or whatever, or with some piece of advice that's going to make your life better or make you a better mom or a better dad or a better parent.
So what if it does help somebody out there though?
Great.
Right?
I'm still going to hate it.
It's not going to be for us, right?
Right. It's not for me.
That's if that's the take home about that whole ridiculous conversation is that it's going to be for somebody, but not for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's what the internet's for, right? There are people that despise what I do on Instagram and stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And that's great. That's the cool thing. You can just unsubscribe. You don't have to do all that stuff. But
Or keep subscribing, keep commenting, because it drives views and it pushes me up in the algorithm.
that's true. I'll just keep commenting insults on yours. To
A
push
lot
you
of
up.
people love the haters
That's true.
because that's exactly what happens. I saw that on...
More comments, more engagement. That's right.
Some guy, I think it was Adam Greentree, had a picture of him holding a cougar.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
And some guy was like...
We should specify
Whatever.
because this isn't our hunting podcast. Adam
Right.
Greentree is a famous bow hunter.
Yes.
And cougar was the actual animal, mountain lion,
Oh, yes.
Not-
a literal cougar.
not a woman in her 40s.
Yeah. And, one guy said something about, well, if you're going to start hunting predators, why don't you start hunting humans? And there were and the post was only
800
like 2 hours old. So there were already like 50 replies to that comment,
Right.
And
yeah, let it ride, man.
great. Because the more comments, the more likes, the more you get viewed, the more followers you get, the more money you get from your sponsors.
And that's how everybody gets into the habit of posting controversial stuff all the time because it works. So maybe that's what we're missing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of work. I'm not going to do that.
I shot an animal that is technically extinct in the wild, and I don't have a lot of haters on my page about
That's true, you did. Well, because it's delicious. Also, most of the people who follow you are people like, can I get some of that meat?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you don't have a lot of people.
I guess also to clarify, because this isn't the hunting podcast. I did not shoot like an endangered animal.
Yeah. It wasn't. It wasn't a Siberian tiger.
I didn't make it extinct, right? The animal became extinct in Africa, and now it thrives in Central Texas.
It's an oryx.
An oryx. It's a kind of antelope.
That is the do whatever word for the day. I want everybody to go to Wikipedia and look up oryx. And then comment, write a review for Do Whatever with your favorite oryx fact. Mm-hmm. God, that would be amazing if somebody did that. Somebody comment.
I hope somebody does.
With their favorite oryx fact. All right, man. Well, I know you're probably on a schedule. You got to go. I could sit here and just bullshit all day about everything. Yeah. But where can the people find Chef Luke?
At Longhorn Luke TX.
Nice.
It's like my personal... so if you
did you go to the University of Texas? I didn't realize.
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you want to go to my personal Instagram and see what's going on there. I've got one for cooking, at Luke What's Cooking.
Oh, because it's your name, Luke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's some food stuff on that. And then, of course, at Camo and Hooks is all the hunting and fishing exploits.
Nice. Well, get it all out now because this was not an interview segment, and it's the last time I'm ever going to ask you where people can find you. So if they ever see you come up in these episodes, they'll be like, I guess go back to episode whatever 12 this is. Mm-hmm. And that's because I'm not ever going to let you do that ever again.
Okay.
No self-promotion. Only me. Only mic promotion.
Yeah.
My God, he is an egomaniac. All right, man. Later.